Recording in progress.
Mr. Mayor, it's 4 o'clock.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I call to order the virtual work session dated Tuesday, August 10, 2021 at 4 p.m. Mr. Clerk, would you give me a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Roll call. The Honorable William Bill Edwards, Mayor.
Here.
The Honorable Catherine F. Rao, District 1.
Present.
The Honorable Carmelita Gums, District 2.
Present.
The Honorable Helen Z. Willis, District 3. The Honorable Naima Gilliard, District 4.
Here.
The Honorable Corey A. Reeves, District 5.
Accounted for.
The Honorable Councilmember Khalid, District 6. Think you're muted.
Present.
Thank you. The Honorable Mark Baker, District 7.
Present.
Mr. Mayor, you have a quorum.
Before we make our first presentation, let me ask everybody to make sure that they are muted when they're not in a part of the discussion. Ms. Gilliard, I see you're not muted right now, so that we can give our attention to those who are speaking without having any interference. So, Corey, would you announce the first presentation, please?
Yes, the first presentation is 1 Million Trees Initiative. We have Ms. Judy Yee from Trees Atlanta present on the call.
Ms. Yee, go right ahead.
Thank you. I see that you all have our presentation on screen. Before I begin, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Judy Yee. I am with Trees Atlanta. I am the Director of Marketing and Outreach for our organization. For those of you who might not be familiar with our nonprofit, we are a nonprofit in the metro Atlanta area, and our mission is to protect and improve Atlanta's urban forests by planting, conserving, and educating. Next slide, please. So I'm here today to talk about this project, the 1 Million Trees Initiative. I'm going to give you this high-level overview. I'll give you an in-depth look at our organization and some more details about this initiative, and we should be able to cover that in about 10, 12 minutes. So the 1 Million Trees Initiative is a collaborative effort to preserve Atlanta's Metro Atlanta's tree canopy, not just in the city of Atlanta, but regionally. To date, we have 10 local nonprofit organizations that are partners and 10 cities throughout Metro Atlanta. I'm here today to put under this City Council's consideration to have South Fulton join us as the 11th city partner. It is a 10-year goal. We started it in 2020. We hope to reach this goal by 2030. And what is this goal? To both plant or conserve 1 million trees among all the partner cities. That this is an ambitious goal. To put it into perspective, Trees Atlanta has been in operation since 1985. And since that time, our organization has planted 140,000 trees. Now, we're just one organization just planting through our volunteer effort, but we believe that if we engage other Metro Atlanta cities such as yours, we can reach this audacious goal of planting and protecting 1 million trees, and I'll explain how we'll do that. Later on, if you have time, we'd love for you to visit our website. A little more information, including the partner logos, are located at treesatlanta.org/1 million trees, and we will return to that in a moment. Next slide, please. So why are we doing this? This is probably not new. Fortunately or unfortunately, there's been a lot of information in the news lately about the rapidly disappearing tree canopy throughout Metro Atlanta. In fact, 3 Georgia counties are in the top 10 of all southern cities for loss of forest cover. Now, number 2 is Gwinnett County, number 3 is Fulton, and number 10 is Cobb. This is a Metro Atlanta area issue, and with the popularity of Metro Atlanta in all our cities as a desirable place for you to work and live and play, The threat is increasing for the disappearance of our canopy. We believe as an organization, you can have development and healthy tree canopy at once. And what we're hoping that this partnership can highlight how we can balance those both of those benefits for our city. Next slide, please. So trees are critical to Atlanta's urban ecology. We're not doing this just because trees are an attractive amenity for our landscape. The benefits of trees are innumerable, including mitigating stormwater issues. As the city grows, you'll notice that the pressure on the stormwater infrastructure will also increase. The counterbalance would be for you to invest money in gray infrastructure, but we propose that we can invest in green infrastructure, which is protecting our trees and adding more trees to help with that water issue. Trees clearly have benefits for cleaner air and lowering air pollutants. We know that there's a high correlation for lower canopy and chronic breathing issues. Asthma is higher in cities and neighborhoods where there are lower tree cover. Soil is another close impact where trees can benefit. It decreases the amount of soil that is eroded from rain or wind or any such things. And of course, with trees, you have better soil that everything else, including urban agriculture, benefits from trees in the environment. And lastly, habitat. Not only habitat for humans, because humans are a part of nature, but the wildlife that we share this area with. And when we decrease healthy habitat for our pollinators and birds and other things that live in our environment, we degrade the quality of our ecosystem. Next slide, please. So I briefly went over some of these benefits of trees, and I'm hoping that I'm speaking to the choir about this, and that you understand and believe that trees are important to our community. But if you need more reasons why we need more trees in our cities, here's a long list of them. I won't go into each of them, but it can be a direct correlation, like it lowers air temperatures. Any hot summer day, you know that people naturally gravitate toward the shade of a tree. But as a city as a whole, it can be 10 to 12 degrees cooler if you're in a neighborhood that is well canopied versus in the middle of a downtown city. So as we talk about heat increasing globally and locally, the importance of trees becomes even more apparent. And there's subtle benefits such as mental health and education outcome. A lot of people don't realize that students who are studying in schools with the view of trees actually perform better. So if you're interested in learning more about the benefits of trees, we have programming that we'd love to bring into your community, or invite your community members to come attend some of our classes. Most of them are free, and our point is to educate people on why trees and natural green spaces are so important to the well-being of residents of cities like South Fulton. Next slide, please. Very quickly, I'll go over our main areas of programming as Trees Atlanta, because as a nonprofit organization, we're here for you as a resource to help you educate your constituency. Next slide. Our most well-known program is our planting program. We will come into your neighborhood and lead a volunteer effort of the residents, plus volunteers from throughout Metro Atlanta, and plant trees on your city streets. Hopefully, South Fulton will consider partnering with us to plant more trees within your city boundaries. We also have an urban trees division that do larger trees, a fee-for-service contract that we can come in and plant trees on your behalf in your city. Next slide, please. Conserving is an increasingly important work that we do. Not only do we need to put more trees in the ground, but what's equally as important, or perhaps even more important, is to conserve the mature forests in our cities. They are rapidly disappearing, not only for development, but invasives might be taking over. So our forest restoration work goes into an area. You see this image on the left is Decatur Cemetery. It was overrun with kudzu. The first step that we do is go in and remove the invasive, which is what we did in 2010, and then replant the area so a natural ecosystem can reestablish. And you see what can happen with native planting, which is better for our environment in 2013. We do that in hundreds of acres of land. This past year, we restored 500 acres of forest, or actively working in 500 acres of forest. Next slide. Educating is incredibly important. We not only do we do youth programs, but adult programs too. Some of our most popular programs is like the image you see below. We have a summer teen job program. We pay them and we teach them about green collar careers. We have a summer camp. And for adults, we have speaker events, how-to classes, such as in the summertime, so we'll teach you how to properly prune your trees and plant your trees, etc. Next slide, please. And lastly, partially what I'm trying to do here, and what we also do, is go to neighborhood by neighborhood or city by city and have canopy conversations. We can customize a conversation in, like this picture is, I went to a neighborhood in College Park. They invited me. Even during the pandemic, we decided that we were going to meet outside, and we talked to the neighbors who were very concerned about the loss of canopy in their community. We can do that, and feel free to use any of these links to request one of these events. We're here talking about the 1 Million Trees Initiative. I'll skip that over since I'm about to go over a few more slides. And lastly, we are actively engaged in influencing the tree protection ordinance, not only in the city of Atlanta, but serve as a resource for other cities. Next slide, please. So we're back here at 1 Million Trees Initiative. So knowing that who we are as an organization, I hope you'll consider joining us in this initiative as a partner. Next slide. So currently, our nonprofit partners include all the organizations that you see above. You'll see that all of them should be familiar to you. The city partners that we have on the initiative so far are the City of Atlanta, Brookhaven, College Park, City of Decatur, City of Doraville, Dunwoody, East Point, Hateville, Sandy Springs, and the City of Smyrna. We'd love to add South Fulton to that list. Next slide, please. You might wonder, what does it mean to become a partner? It doesn't take much to become a partner. It really is the intention of the city council and the city leadership. We would either need a letter of support from the mayor or the city manager, or a resolution from the city council or the board of a commissioner, if you're a county, to say that you subscribe to the mission of the initiative, which is to highlight the importance of planting and conserving trees. There is no fee or financial commitment required of each of the partner, but we do have things that we would like for the partners to do in order to be officially part of the initiative. Next slide, please. What we will do as Trees Atlanta and the lead of this program is we will convey to the main point of contact of the project lead at South Fulton, should you decide to become part of our initiative. We'll give you the definitions, the protocol, and the roles that we would expect you to take. You will create, we will create and manage the partnership agreements. We'll give you timelines. We'll help you track and manage toward the particular goals that the city might establish. And we will share with you our marketing strategy and marketing materials so that you can talk to your community about the importance of trees and what South Fulton is doing to increase the tree canopy for your residents. Next slide, please. So oops, go back one slide, please. So, one more. Okay, so the key thing that your city is committing to do is you commit to plant more trees in South Fulton. How you do it is based upon your individual budget and bandwidth, but the important thing is that you will make an intention to add more trees to your city. The second commitment that you're making is that you will look to conserve forested land. One of the most important ways to save significant canopy in any city is not just to replant trees, but to identify acres, multiple acres that you put into conservation, so that canopy is forever protected. A very similar activity happened in Atlanta last year when they bought 215 acres in Lake Charlotte and put that land into conservation. That represented 65,000 trees saved. But not only that, it became a park, a new park for the city of Atlanta and the residents of South Atlanta. We would like for you to actively look for and identify forested land in South Fulton. Of course, we'd like for you to track and report the trees planted and conserved, and we'll help you do that. And we will maintain that database. And lastly, should you become part of this initiative, you're committing to educate and increase awareness of the benefit of trees and why the city has chosen to be a part of this initiative by promoting the 1 Million Trees Initiative and letting us kind of amplify what you are doing and brag on you a bit. And we will connect you to other cities and so you can share some best practices. So that, in a very quick overview, is the program. I'll be happy to answer any questions on what it means to be part of this initiative and what the next steps might look like should you want to make it official. So thank you for your time, and I hope that a good conversation can be had and that you join this initiative with us.
Okay, thank you, Judy, so much for a very informative and important presentation for our city. It's my hopes as mayor that we hear what she has to say and be a part of this effort. One thing I can say is from Ms. Jones, I would like to look back into the tree bank and see where we are in terms of the tree bank and what we have in there. So at this time, I have Mr. Khalid, then Miss Willis, and then Mr. Reeves, then Ms. Gilead. So Mr. Khalid, you have the floor.
Thank you so much. Is there some sort of draft legislation, Ms. Caldwell, that you already have prepared, or resolution that other cities have adopted?
Great question. And the answer is yes. We'll be happy to share with you the resolutions from other cities so you can use it as a sample.
Thank you. And then just one more point of information. I loved your slide that spoke about tree loss by county. I am wondering, Fulton County is unique in that we are separated by the city of Atlanta, and North Fulton County and South Fulton County are very different. I'm wondering, would it be possible to get data on tree loss in South Fulton County, or even specifically the city of South Fulton, but definitely South Fulton County as distinct from North Fulton?
You know, the canopy data is very difficult to get at, and unless that particular city pays for an assessment, frankly, it's difficult to get that level of granularity. We were able to get that overview on a county level because there was a national study done a number of years ago, and we kind of scraped it from that. But I will tell you one thing. One of the interesting dynamics that's happening is that a lot of if you live in a well-canopied region, you are almost more at risk of this tree loss because it becomes particularly attractive for developers. Not that developers are the enemy. We believe that we need to build a bigger, stronger city for everyone. However, there is a risk because there's such open space for them to take away. So we like to get into a city early and educate the city council and the community so that you can drive the priorities of what creates a better city in the long run, because you're there after the developer leaves, right? So it doesn't matter that they redeveloped an area. If they didn't leave enough ground or green space to make it into a healthy community, they leave you with the problem of chronic health issues, higher heat islands, less natural resources. So we want to make sure that the first thing we do is, if you have an abundance of trees, is that we educate everyone who's at the decision table so that you can do the best thing for your community.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Khalid. Ms. Willis.
Thank you for this presentation, and I would hope that we would bring forth a resolution for this entire council to sponsor and get behind. I love tree canopies. I grew up in Savannah, and we have moss tree canopies all throughout the city that I grew up in, and in some areas of the city of South Fulton, there are a lot of natural tree canopies. My question to you is, have you all, or do you all assist cities or provide any type of grant funding to assist cities in maintaining the trees. So when there is one of the downfalls to tree canopies is whenever there is a bad storm or when there's a what do you call it? In the summertime, we have these pop-up storms. These tree canopies, if they're not well maintained, they pop, the trees fall, they block roads. They could become very hazardous to communities. And so what do you all, how do you all assist, or do you all assist in those areas, or do you offer recommendations? And then when trees are damaged due to storms, do you all have any type of assistance that you provide to replace those trees? And so I'll stop before I ask my next question so you can answer that.
Okay. So, we are limited. We are a nonprofit and we do focus in on planting and conserving trees. This issue that you bring up, Ms. Willis, is something that is a concern to many people. However, one of the things that a city or city council does have more latitude to do is perhaps consider a maintenance fund for your residents. That is probably the closest that we can offer as an option. However, we're very cautious about the focus on trees coming down or the hazards of tree or the need for removal. Trees are a natural living thing, so it will have a life cycle. But just like any item, it requires regular maintenance. If you own a home or if you own a car, you have to change the oil. You have to be mindful of whether the shingles need replacing. It is an investment when you have a resource like tree canopy that you do regular maintenance. So we can give you resources or information on how best to go about doing that. But unfortunately, we do not have the financial resources to help remove trees or anything like that. However, we do offer matching funds. If a city wants to plant trees, for example, a city can engage with us to say, let's say you want to plant 100 new trees in the city of South Fulton, and you pick the areas where you want them to be. We will do our best to make sure that we help you meet that goal. That's one of the reasons that we work hard in raising funds so we can increase the canopy in Metro Atlanta. One of the things that is very unique about Trees Atlanta, when we come in to plant trees, we are not like a commercial tree company. We include 2 years of maintenance with any tree that we plant. So if we were to plant a tree in a city street in South Fulton, we will bring people in, we'll bring in a tree, plant that tree, come back to make sure it's watered and well established for 2 years. If it needs pruning so that it doesn't create a hazard on the road, we'll do that. So we believe that once a tree is well established and started off, it has a higher likelihood to grow to full potential. So we do differentiate in how we do our business that way, but it really is is within the capacity and resources of the city council or the city departments to take care of assistance to homeowners who might not be able to afford for tree maintenance, for example. You said you had another question?
You answered it. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Councilwoman Willis. Councilman Reeves. Councilman Reeves.
Yes, I just wanted to say thank you for the presentation, and I look forward to championing anything that I can do to help this situation along.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Gilliard. Councilwoman Gilliard. Okay, in that absence, let me say a couple of things. Ms. Jones?
Hello.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Gilliard.
Yeah, I was having trouble unmuting.
Go right ahead.
Thank you so much, Ms. Yee, for the presentation. Over 20 years ago, when I lived in the city of Atlanta, we lived on 2 streets, and it was less than 50 houses, and we applied to